Sego, Kathryn. I have your response right here. I'm just going to try to answer your questions in it. First of all, you mentioned, you said that you work at Mohawk College and you never really, it says, I didn't fully appreciate what institutional racism or structural barriers look like until I worked much more closely with Indigenous learners. I kind of had to giggle at that part on my own behalf because there's a lot of terms that I haven't heard. Settler ally being one of them, and as a matter of fact, when the course started, I asked Jennifer, what exactly is a settler ally? Is someone given that term, or is someone they declare themselves an ally? So she had to clear that up for me. Anyway, speaking to the institutional racism and structural barriers, I didn't understand myself. Like I said, white privilege is a term that it was new to me. It is new to me, and I never realized that there was such a thing, or that it was labeled something. Just because when I went to school, when I opened up a book, that's what I saw, was not me, not people like me looking back at me through those books, but I guess the dominant culture. The second thing you talked about in your post and made me giggle was it was hard for you to tell if Indigenous issues are more at the forefront of the national consciousness, or you're just more in tune to it now. I'm going to go ahead and say that it's definitely not at the forefront of the national consciousness, and that you are definitely more in tune to it now. Whether it could be for a number of reasons. Maybe I talked to my friend about this actually, and she works at a school in Brantford, and she said it's mandated that they have to, at the beginning of the year actually, that those first PD days that we get, she had to go and attend training for, I don't know exactly what she labeled it, but it was for more Indigenous awareness. But that's mandated. I'm going to go ahead and say that if most people weren't forced to do that, they wouldn't. Talking about people who get it, I really liked how you phrased it in your response. You said, I just realize now the vastness of how little I can get it from my place of privilege. Don't sell yourself short though, Kathryn. The fact that you recognize that you recognize it, I think that speaks to how much you do get. I don't know if that makes sense or not. So speaking to your last point about, you mentioned your registrar and how he thinks there's no room to change because a student is a student. I think every teacher and pretty much any person who is a human being knows that no two people are exactly alike. That's what makes us individuals, and not considering that is just how you said, a willful ignorance that puts barriers up for change. And you had mentioned how to make people care when it's not what they experience in their day-to-day lives. You can't make people care. That's not your job to make them care. All you can do is have those hard conversations with them and go to those uncomfortable spots and make them aware and make them realize that not everybody is the same, and not everybody's experiences are what maybe someone else experienced that was so positive in school. You just have to remember, we can't change people. People have to change people. They have to change themselves, and the change has to come from here. Thanks for responding to my post, Kathryn.